Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Treyarch special broadcast. In less than 24 hours, Call of Duty will usher in the arrival of Season 5, bringing with it a lot of new content. Warzone will deliver new map updates, a new mode, and new perks for the first time. Black Ops Cold War's multiplayer will introduce a new game of deception called Double Agent, along with 5 maps and the return of Demolition. Coming hot off the heels of the release of Mauer der Toten, members of the Zombies team will join us to cover all the new content coming to Round-Based Zombies, Outbreak, Onslaught, and Dead Ops Arcade. And starting on August 19th, the Call of Duty League Championship will be held, featuring the best players in the world, with $2.5 million up for grabs. We'll talk to a few members of the team about what they're looking forward to the most. But first, to kick things off, we recently caught up with Treyarch's Miles Leslie and Raven's Amos Hodge to cover all things Warzone in Season 5. And this is what they had to share.
Welcome to Season 5. We got a lot to get into. Let's talk about the story so far. Now, coming out of Season 4, we heard Wraith on the phone making a drop for the new operator, Kitsune. She's the one that grabbed that bag. And in the bag were the data reels from Mount Yamantau, that key information on the numbers program. Now, with the evolved numbers program that Stitch and Perseus have been putting together, Kitsune had one mission, and that's to get to Echelon, brand new location in Germany. And this listening station, really the key is to activate the numbers broadcast, and that is going to change the landscape across the story, really across the entire scene of multiplayer in Verdansk. Once the broadcast is live, sleeper agents are going to be active on a global scale, and these mobile broadcast stations that Stitch has set up are going to become active.
This isn't just a narrative beat, it's a map beat. So we've added mobile broadcast stations across the map where you can go and you can hear this message and you can find new loot. For Season 5, players can expect 2 new perks. The first perk is designed to help players ping enemies. So anytime you damage an enemy, he will be pinged for your entire team. So you no longer have to decide, should I ping first or shoot first? Just go ahead and fire away and he'll be pinged. The second perk is designed to help you plate faster. For Season 5, we're updating the Gulag with a new layout, and this time around we're mirroring after a map called Rush. This was a fan favorite Call of Duty Cold War map, and so we're bringing it into Warzone, and I think fans are going to have a great time with it. Later in Season 5, we have an all-new game mode called Clash. The base of this mode is large-scale TDM, 50v50, first one to hit the score limit wins. But we've layered on top of that all the Warzone mechanics. So you've got armor plates. As you kill enemies, you earn money, and those buy stations are active for you to purchase kill streaks. Also during the match, in the center of the map area, domination points will spawn, and if you capture those points, you will gain additional score. Many times, the victor of the game is the one who captures the most domination points. Season 5 is packed with content. The narrative is moving forward. We've got new mobile broadcast stations in the map. We've got new perks that are going to change how people play the game. It'll switch up the meta. We've got a new Gulag based on Rush, which is really fun. We've got a new TDM-based game mode with some twists that's super exciting. We've got weapon balance changes coming in with the launch of Season 5. Season 5 is going to be a high note.
Thank you, Miles, and thank you, Amos, for the full rundown. We've actually got Miles back with us, as well as our very own Matt Schrantz, to talk about all the weapons and operators coming to both Black Ops Cold War and Warzone. Miles, thanks for sticking around. Matt, welcome.
Just for you, John.
Thank you. Miles, before we jump into things, as the studio's creative specialist, you play a significant role in helping this entire universe come together. With what amounts to the game and 5 seasons under your belt, what's this journey been like so far? What's it been like connecting all these dots?
It's been really fun. That's the main thing. It's also been very challenging. We've never taken on this amount of story woven into the post-ship seasons, and it's canon as well. Like, we didn't want to do something that wouldn't be part of the Black Ops lore and the history. So we took a lot of time crafting this from the start, working with the campaign on where it ends, all the way to what is the most interesting story that we can tell with the time that we've got, across the game and cinematics, and making sure that it touches Warzone and multiplayer and feels substantial and it feels Black Ops We've learned a lot of things, but I'm really happy with what the team's accomplished and telling a really cool story, but also just delivering a lot of fun content wrapped in that as well for players to, go as far in as they want.
When it comes to those themes, those narratives, operators have played a really important role in driving that forward. And the team has brought us some pretty memorable characters. And season 5 stands to be no different.
Yeah, absolutely. So with season 5, we have Kitsune. She is the battle pass operator. Now, she's totally different than what you've seen before. She is basically the daughter of a Yakuza boss. She grew up in this world of organized crime, but she went a different path. She's an electronics expert. She can hack anything. She can fix anything. Next up, we've got Striker, and he really comes armored and geared up, and he's very different. He's got a little Texan accent, really cool in the cinematic, really cool for the season, something players really haven't seen yet.
And Striker arrives in season, but we've got one other addition coming in season as well.
That's right. Hudson makes his way to the battlefield. So Hudson, Black Ops hero throughout all the series. He was actually the multiplayer announcer. So players have actually been hearing his voice yell at them when they're on the NATO side. And through the story and everything, it's time for Hudson to get into the action. And then he can yell at you actually in game as the operator, not just the announcer.
Also coming in season 5, there are a number of new weapons that the team folds into the mix. And I guess while we're talking about operators and Kitsune, maybe we start with the Tech 9 that we see her using.
Yeah, absolutely. So she shreds with this in the cinematic, and really that is a precursor to players getting their hands on it as well. This SMG is just mean. It's really, really cool. I think, throw it to Matt to kind of tell the specific details of how players are going to get their hands on it.
Yeah, Tech 9, it's become one of my favorites in the playtests. Kitsune does have, a bit more leeway than we may. In the cinematic, you will see her using those as dual-wield SMGs. Like I said, Kitsune, she's a badass. She can do what she wants to. If she wants 2 Tech 9s, she gets 2 Tech 9s. But for us, a really cool thing that we will be able to do, which I've had a ton of fun with, is change the fire rate. So by default, the Tech 9 is going to be a semi-auto, 1 pull, 1 bullet. And then through some attachments, you'll be able to turn that thing into a burst fire and full auto submachine gun. I've had probably the most fun using the Tech 9 as a single shot SMG. So yeah, I'm loving this thing.
So Matt, for those that might want to dial the heat up a bit from the SMG, there's also the EM2 assault rifle that the team is offering this season.
Yeah, that's right. EM2 AR, it's a ton of fun. British assault rifle, a bit slower rate of fire, very manageable recoil. It feels like a very different assault rifle compared to the other ones.
Also coming in season and also seen in the cinematic is the Marshall hybrid shotgun pistol.
The Marshall is actually the predecessor to the Marshall 16, if you remember that from Black Ops 3. Super fun, very loud, powerful pistol, double barrel break action pistol. Got a fun little attachment we call Dragon's Breath. Kiss your enemy with a little bit of fire. Really excited to get that one in the players' hands.
How do you guys think about the weapons you introduce at which points in the seasons? Like, how does that become part of the conversation? How do you guys think about kind of scoping that out and planning in advance?
No, it's a good question. It's really about, working with the creative team, Miles, and where do we feel like a weapon may fit best within this story we're trying to tell. Of course, we think about the player base and, how many people are using a certain type of weapon. When do we want to introduce a new type of weapon? We're not just throwing spaghetti at a wall or darts at a board. We do give it some thought.
Well, if you give it some thought based on data, I guess there's sort of like a sadistic player category that would go for the new melee weapon that's coming this season.
I personally hate getting killed by a melee weapon, but I know there's a large percentage of people that are absolute masters of it, and we cannot forget about them. So for the fans that want to keep it classy in season 5, we're introducing a cane. So you're going to be able to take this cane and whack people, obliterate them in just fantastic fashion.
Yeah, I'm not a big melee player. That said, I was actually playing this past weekend, and somebody bonked me over the head with a baseball bat. I picked it up and bonked him right back, and I've had a ton of fun with it. I'm really looking forward to the cane now because I think I might be transitioning to a melee only player. Yeah.
It's got him.
So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna roll Lawbreaker that just lets me break all the rules, and I'll run the Marshal with Dragon's Breath, and then the Cane as my secondary, and I'm just gonna create mayhem. So look out for me.
Absolutely disgusting.
I'm not really sure I have anything to follow up on that one. Matt, there one last item, especially for zombies players coming this season. It sounds like the team's delivering a flamethrower.
That's right. It's time to get crispy, John. Flamethrower, yeah. For multiplayer, we've done the flamethrower before. We're bringing it back better than ever. Flamethrowers are always a ton of fun. You get in there and just start spraying flames everywhere. Sometimes I like to just sit and turn in a circle in a small room and see what hits. Also creates a spectacle. And like you said, the zombies, they don't like fire. So the zombies players will have a new toy there as well.
As you talk about this, I can only think about how horrible it would be to be in a game with you, because I would just die all the
Had to get
time.
marshaled into a cane, into flamethrower crisps. So, welcome to season 5, John.
Well, let's keep it rolling with maps and modes, and it's probably best if we kick things off with kind of a one-of-a-kind mode that's never been imagined before in the series. Probably best to start there. Matt, the team is rolling out a mode called Double Agent. Can you tell us what that is all about, and tell us especially kind of how it came to be?
Yeah, I'd love to. I want to give a shout out to Activision Shanghai, who we've worked with very closely on Double Agent. So the kind of high level pitch of Double Agent is that it's a 10-player free for all based game mode, and it's a social deduction game type where you're trying to uncover the roles that each player has been assigned. Like I said, there's 10 players, 6 operatives. Those are the good guys and girls. There's 1 investigator. The investigator is meant to kind of unite the operatives, the good guys and girls, and lead them to victory. And then there's 3 double agents, and those are the bad guys and girls. So the double agents, they're mainly out to blow up bombs and eliminate all of the good guys. The operatives have to sniff out the double agents throughout the course of the match. They'll be given clues, and they can pay attention to the behavior and movement of every player around them, just to try to kind of understand who's good, who's bad. And the operatives, they have to get rid of all 3 double agents, and they will win the match. Communication is key. The game mode is, 1,000 times more fun when everybody's really getting on mic and chatting and lying to each other and saying, I'm a good guy, I'm a bad guy. No, well, it's unlike most of our core multiplayer game modes where it's shoot first, ask questions later. You really got to pay attention, and you got to get into the mind of your friend or your enemy in this one.
Matt, that's pretty ambitious, but that's not the only mode that the team is delivering. It seems like in season, the team's got a special treat for players.
That's right. One of the fan favorites, Demolition, is coming back in season. For the uninitiated, Demolition is a 6v6 attack versus defend game mode, where the attackers are tasked with finding and blowing up 2 bomb sites in the map. There's unlimited respawns for both sides, so it's not like search and destroy. And then the defenders just need to prevent the attackers from blowing up those bomb sites. The first team to win 2 rounds wins.
New operators, new weapons, new ways to play. Let's talk about where you'll be playing it. And it starts with a 6v6 map called Echelon. Miles, is there any sort of lore? What's the backstory with Echelon? What are we getting into?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you see, here's Echelon here. You can see it in the cinematic as well. This actually is a real place that existed, is this Echelon building. It's a listening station. And narratively, Stitch has sent Kitsune to attack this place and infiltrate it. And she is about to turn the broadcast on of the Evolved Numbers program for the next step in the master plan. This map is a lot of fun. It's bringing something new to the portfolio overall with this sort of king of the hill cylinder center, basically, and you rotate through that. Which is very different and very fun.
Matt, the team is serving up a classic 3-lane fight in a 6v6 experience. Take us to Slums.
Yeah, Slums is coming back. Black Ops 2 Classic, like you said. It's, to me, when I think about Slums, it's all about controlling that center. It's about controlling the statue. It's about controlling the blue room. Going back to Demolition, we've been having a ton of fun playing Demolition on Slums. I think that one works really well for a lot of attack defend game modes.
Miles, for the 2v2, 3v3 crowd, there is a new map called Showroom. What's the backstory with this one?
In season 1, if players remember, we took you to the Pines. We're actually going to another part of the mall, this showroom. It's called Stacks. Very cool, very different as you're fighting over sort of these iconic department store showroom type stuff. Lots of cat and mouse as a gunfight map players expect. Really fits nicely in the portfolio of the gunfight maps that we've released to date.
Matt, coming in season for the 6v6 crowd, the team is taking players back to Drive-In.
I'm really happy that we're able to bring this one back. It was a part of the map pack post-launch offerings in Black Ops 1. So there may be some players who didn't get a chance to experience that. You know, Drive-In's a medium-sized map with varying engagement ranges. You're going to have your iconic long-range battle between the drive-in theater. So you're going to have a sniper perch up there in the theater screen going directly across to the projector room. And then you've got on each side of that parking area where the cars would park and view their movie of choice. On one side, you're going to have a scrap yard. And then on the opposite side, you're going to have that really iconic concession stand with the hamburger shop and the ice cream stand and the arcade.
Last but not least, the team is also bringing players to the zoo experience, and that's arriving in season as well.
So first off, we ain't touching your Outbreak map. Second off, we are going to make that play space a little bit smaller. This is one where we did play and iterate, and through playtesting, we said, you know what, we all think this is going to play a bit better if we shrink it down a bit. We've brought in some of those side areas and kept the iconic, monorail path, the aquarium. It's a ton of fun. It's one that provides a lot of varied engagement ranges, which we try to hit with all of our maps.
Miles, thanks for pulling double duty today. Matt, thanks for coming by. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, John.
And now, zombies. Today, we're joined by Craig Houston and Kevin Drew, two very familiar faces from the Zombies crew, and they are here to tell us all about what is in store with Season 5 and all things across Zombies. Guys, welcome.
Hi, John. Nice to see you again.
Hi, John. Good to see you.
All right. Okay. So when we talked last, you guys were getting ready to drop Mauer Der Toten. It's been out in the wild lately. How would you describe fan reaction so far?
Satisfying to watch and to read the feedback. We were very excited about this map, but seeing people appreciate not just the location, but some of the narrative beats within it, some of the character development that we went through. It was great to see people really love Klaus. It was great to see people really love the Wonder Weapon. It was great to see people really enjoy the environment. And, while we're proud of everything we do, to get that level of response of seeing people playing the main quest and feeling really satisfied with it and how it all, played out and paid off. The boss battle was fun. The steps were fun. It was nice to see other people really, really, really enjoying that.
We inside the team thought we had a really great level on our hands. We went back to that kind of dark atmospheric environment, and those are always my favorite, and I think they're the most kind of classic zombies feel. And it was just awesome to see the community react in the same way and just really enjoy the atmosphere. And watching players go through that main quest and be introduced to Valentina was just really awesome to see.
With Season 5 coming tomorrow, players are kind of like, on the threshold of kind of understanding sort of the implications of Mauer Der Toten. Craig, if you could kind of walk us through the story, as players drop into Season 5, where are they at?
When Raptor 1 gets shot down at the end of that Outbreak quest, that was really nice to see the reactions. It was really nice to see everyone invested in making sure that he didn't die. But then also bringing the Valentina story to the fore in Mauer Der Toten, which has been there and been planned since the very beginning of Die Maschine. But that story arc has kind of wrapped up. Thank goodness we managed to stop her bringing the Nazi army back into our dimension, because the last thing we need is any more Nazis. The biggest thing, and sorry, spoilers, people, if you saw the outro, then you will have seen that Maxis has powers now. We've been hinting at that for a little bit after her return from the Dark Ether, but the players wouldn't be alive if it weren't for her intervention. And that is something that we're going to see continuing, developing through season 5. But also we will be letting players hear from the director for the first time.
Kevin, now that Craig has shared a little bit more about what we can expect to learn through Intel, can you give us a little insight into what we can expect in terms of gameplay?
We have a lot of exciting new content coming to Zombies for Season 5, starting with a new perk, which is Death Perception. In the past, what it allowed you to do was see enemies through walls, but with all the new mechanics and the introduction of Outbreak, we saw a real opportunity here to just increase that and leverage all of those things. Starting with the new ability of increasing your mini-map refresh rate, which is something that is useful for everyone, knowing where enemies are, where they're coming from. As you level up further, you will be able to increase the amount of salvage and high-grade salvage that you earn when you pick it up in the world. And then finally, when it's fully powered up, this is what's really exciting for me, is that it highlights anything with chests or items that are dropped in the world. So you'll be able to walk by a house in Outbreak and see that not only there are enemies in there, but there might be a large chest in there. You would be able to identify that that item isn't even an item, it's a mimic, and you can see that it's red. One of my favorite things now is that when I do the Fury Crystal event in Outbreak, it will actually show you where all the crystals are nearby. So there's just a lot of utility here with this perk.
And where should players look to find this perk?
So at the start of Season 5, this perk is only going to be available in the Wonder Fizz machine. The actual perk machine will not be premiering until Season 6.
Kevin, it also sounds like the team is planning to deliver a field upgrade as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Tesla Storm is the new field upgrade that's going to be coming in Season 5, and it's the ultimate offensive-based field upgrade. When you activate it, it'll form like an electric storm or energy field around you that will stun and damage any enemies nearby, including elites. Not only is it useful for you, but if you're nearby your squad, it will link up through electric beams to those fellow players around you, and they'll gain those same abilities as well.
It sounds like the team is also delivering a new support weapon this season. What's coming?
So a very classic weapon to zombies, which is the flamethrower, which is just spewing out fiery death to any zombies that touch it.
After being on the receiving end of the Krasny Soldat's flamethrower for so long and ending so many games for me, it's very, very nice to be able to return the favor.
Let's shift gears a little bit to Outbreak. Talk to us a little bit more about regions, objectives, and vehicles and everything that the team has in store for Season 5.
So the Outbreak zones have kind of pushed past the Ural Mountains, and that's starting with Collateral, which is this oil field kind of in the middle of a vast desert. Not only has the Aether invaded this space, but it's brought along with it a massive sandstorm. So the visibility's lower, and it's a little bit more atmospheric. We have a new objective coming to Season 5 called Transport, which is about you trying to get to these Aether storms that have appeared across the region using the cargo truck, and then harvesting that energy before it becomes volatile and explodes.
It also sounds like the team is bringing a new vehicle as well as a new crafting item.
Yeah, so the tank is coming to Outbreak, which is this ultimate power fantasy of you and a squad mate getting in this guy and just being this juggernaut of a vehicle that can run down the horde and just create massive blood mist. And then you can fire that turret towards elites or especially Tempests. So even if a Tempest is able to shut down your tank temporarily, you're able to like turn that turret slowly and just that satisfying one shot as you just destroy that Tempest.
Craig, you do a lot of story writing, a lot of character development. How do you feel about Kevin's casual use of the phrase "massive blood mist"? What sort of person just nonchalantly throws that out there?
I think it's someone who's probably been influenced by some of the things that we have done in the past, and it's kind of seeped into their pores. The thing I've really enjoyed about zombies becoming my focus in recent years is You don't need to feel bad about killing a zombie, especially a Nazi one.
Well, Craig, you had a particular affinity for the flamethrower. Just curious if you are equally anxious about the grapple gun crafting item.
It's fun to use these kind of things to traverse the environment in different ways rather than just look at a set of ladders.
Sounds like there's a special Onslaught experience for PlayStation owners. Kevin, can you give people a little bit more of an idea of what to expect there?
As always, with every season, we're adding more and more multiplayer maps to Onslaught. This season, we're adding Echelon to the rotation, as well as a new blueprint. And a little bit later in the season, we'll be adding a new limited time mode called Diminishing Light, which will be all about moving around with that Aether Orb, but it will be shrinking as you move across each surge wave until you defeat that elite, and then it comes back out to its full size.
As we kind of like wrap things up here, I wanted to touch base for any kind of closing thoughts. Craig, let's start with you.
We are moving into our final seasons now, and we've known since the beginning how this story was going to wrap up. I know people were speculating when Julie was crying in one of our other videos that it meant we were going to kill her, but then they saw that she got all powerful. But I do need to call her tonight and tell her what is actually going to happen, because we're recording some of it tomorrow. So as well as everything else that we've talked about today, I think the most exciting thing about season 5 is it's really going to set up the events for our next round-based zombies map.
So season 5 is all about pulling out all the stops for Outbreak and just kind of letting loose and letting people have as much fun as they can in this sandbox environment. And we're also going to be adding a new bonus map to Dead Ops Arcade. So no matter where you're playing zombies this season, you're going to be getting new content.
Guys, thank you again for joining us today. As always, it's been a pleasure. In fact, I'm already looking forward to seeing you back here again. Coming up right around the corner is the Call of Duty League Championship weekend, which starts on August 19th at the Galen Center here in Los Angeles. The showdown will feature the world's best Call of Duty players squaring off for $2.5 million in prize money, and you can watch the action live on YouTube Gaming. The team at Treyarch has a long history of supporting competitive play, and that's mostly because we're fans as well. That support and love for the competitive agenda goes far and wide these days, and now includes other developers like Beenox. So, with the CDL champs right around the corner, we decided to bring some of our biggest resident fans together to talk about what they're most excited to see with this year's competition. So with that, we have Matt back for more. We've got Brent, we've got Ian, and guys, I'd like to throw it out to you, and if you could, combo question. Who are you? What do you do? What is your tie to competitive? But also, what's the personal appeal? Brent, let's start with you. Who are you? And what do you do here?
Hi, I'm Brent Toda, producer on esports. I've been working at Treyarch for 13, going on 14 years now. We're honestly huge fans of the game ourselves. We make it, we play it, and to just watch it being competitively played at these levels is just something, truly remarkable. So I think that's a real draw.
Ian, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So yeah, I'm Ian, producer, associate producer at Beenox. I've been at the Activision family for a little bit over 10 years now. But even before working at Activision on Call of Duty, I was already a fan of the game myself. Now work with Beenox on helping getting the best broadcast for the CDL.
Awesome. Matt, we already know you. I mean, but what's your tie to competitive, and what's your personal stake?
Yeah, I mean, my personal stake is, of course, we all work very, very hard on the game. And like the others said, just watching these players play at such a high level, doing things that, sometimes we didn't even know could be done with our game is just awesome to watch. It's really just about giving the game to the players and seeing what they can do with it.
While you're at it, what is there something that's sort of like landed on your radar over the season? Has there been a highlight or some highlights that have sort of piqued your interest as we head into the championship?
Some of the highlights are, of course, seeing some of our classic Black Ops maps played in Cold War. We've got Raid, we've got Standoff, we've got Express. And on Raid, seeing Raid played with Control, a game mode that was never played on that map in a competitive setting back in Black Ops 2. So it's just been awesome to really see how, some of the players who were even playing competitively back in Black Ops 2, how they've evolved and progressed and are playing these maps, several years later.
Ian, how about you? Any stories, any through lines that have sort of piqued your curiosity?
The moment where Optic had a struggle with that 3-stack in SND, we all remember that, and I think that they've been short of winning a couple of times this year, and always in very unfortunate moments. So I think that in the last stage they've been doing great, and I think they have a chance now. Very strange season playing online, and we're finally able to go back to LAN, which is very exciting, and I think we can all be super proud of that.
Brent, how about you? You're kind of an interesting person to ask because, you do a lot of work directly with the CDL and some of the players, and so, you might bring a different take.
Yeah, having worked on many aspects of the game before, going into esports was definitely an interesting challenge. We're talking about players that perform at a much higher level than certainly I do, maybe closer to Ian or Matt here. But when we're talking about competitive needs, there's a lot involved. And I think really for me, the highlight has just been the collaboration and relationships that we've developed with the league, its players, and to in the end to make something really awesome for the fans, the viewers to watch. And on a personal level, I think when we're looking at the franchise, I'd say we really set the bar with Cold War.
Whenever you tune into Champs, what are you going to be looking for? Where's your attention going to be?
I think the thing that really excites me about Champs, is the culmination of all these elements that we've worked toward on Cold War coming together. From collaborating with all the folks at CDL, Beenox, all the asset teams, weapons, characters, vehicles, UI, map, gameplay, engineering, production. It sounds like I'm naming every department, but really that's truly what is needed to develop such a title, like this one. And just to see it all come together at Champs is just truly awesome.
Ian, how about you? As the guy whose priority is watchability, do you ever get to watch for fun?
First of all, I was a competitive fan before I was even working on it, so I'm able to have that switch off whenever official matches are on and just have a good time. So yeah, for Champs, what I'm looking forward to is for the green wall, I think.
Matt, so when you tune into Champs, what are you going to be watching for? What are you most excited about?
I just want to see some round 11s. I want to see some tight hardpoint matches. I want to see 240 to 240, P5 raid. I want to see all that stuff. That's the stuff that gets me up out of my seat and standing and cheering regardless of who's playing. So super looking forward to it. And like the others said, thank you so much to all of our partners and people that have worked so hard to get us to this point. The players for being, amazing players and great partners with us throughout the season, and the fans.
Guys, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you for showing up today. Really appreciate your time. And in typical tradition, when you do a good job, you get more work. So this won't be the exception. We'll have you guys back after Champs, and we'll kind of catch up and do a little post game. Meanwhile, thank you very much. With the arrival of Season 5, fans will have 100 new tiers of content to unlock, including the cybersecurity expert Kitsune. Perseus's infiltrating operative is ready to outfox her enemies across all modes with an instant unlock from a Battle Pass purchase at Tier 0. New to Season 5, a second Kitsune operator skin is also instantly unlocked for those who purchase the Battle Pass bundle in the first 2 weeks of the season. And once you've made it all the way to the end, you'll unlock Kitsune's Blood Red Ultra outfit at Tier 100. As we mentioned earlier, prepare for the arrival of 2 free new Battle Pass weapons, the EM2 Assault Rifle at Tier 15 and the Tech 9 SMG at Tier 31. Along the way, you'll also find a deadly load of weapon blueprints that are ready to make quick work of any mess, all unlockable as you work your way from Tier 0 to Tier 100. Keep an eye out for more unlockable items such as customization items, double XP tokens, vehicle skins, and more as you fight your way through the tiers. For 2,400 Call of Duty points, unlock the Battle Pass bundle and instantly gain the second Kitsune operator skin plus 20 tier skips, or 25 tier skips if you're a PlayStation user. putting you on the offensive against Perseus. You'll also get up to 1,300 Call of Duty points back as you work your way through the tiers, redeemable for items in the store, bankable toward future Battle Pass systems. And don't forget, friends can send the Battle Pass bundle, or store bundles to one another. Thank you to everyone who helped make today's broadcast possible. Tommy, Ben, Foxy, Alan, and to our guests for making the time to join us. Most of all, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy all the new content that's dropping in Season 5. We look forward to seeing you online.